Hi guys, in this video we are going to design a simple notes application in React where we are going to use the local storage to store the items. So in case if we reload the application, the notes that we had added will not be deleted. It will be saved in the local storage and it can be retrieved. Suppose in case if I create a new note and save it, then you can see the note has been created, and if I try to reload the application, it will not be deleted, it will be seen as it is. And if I try to inspect this web page and go inside application one, here inside the local storage you can see our note is present here. So let's design the application. So for that, go inside your command prompt and type npx create react app command and give the name of the application that you want to create. So in my case, I will give it as to do app react. And if we hit enter, the app will be created. It will take some time. Okay, the app has been created. So let's dive inside the application. This to do app react, and I will open this application inside my Visual Studio Code. As you can see, we are inside the Visual Studio Code and the code template is here. So inside src, there is app.js file, there is index.js and multiple files. From that, we don't need this setup test case.js, so we will delete it. We also don't need this report web vitals, logo one, app test.js. Okay, so we are remaining with 4 files, and inside app.js, as we had deleted this logo one, so I will delete that part and I will clear the rest of the things. Okay, same for the index.js. We don't need this report web vitals, and I will delete the import too. Okay, so first we will create a note list file which will be the basic template which have all the notes detail. Okay, so in that note list file, uh, we need to create a div which will have a class name as notes list. Okay, and inside that we need to place a input which will be of type text. Then it will have an value of note text. Let's define it later. And also we need to create an on change for that, which will capture the value and then use it. So for that, for creating this note text, what we will do, we will use use state, and we will create variable for that. It will be note text and set note text. Okay, what this use state do is that it is useful for state management purpose, and note text will contain the initial value, and set note text will be useful to assign this note text a value. Okay, so here I will capture the value and then use the set note text to pass the value. So in that case we are using e.target.value, and it will have a placeholder. Okay, so we are done with the input thing. Now we need to create a button which will be responsible for adding the note. So for that we need to create a function which will have a value as add note. Okay, so in this case we are going to use a array to store the nodes. So for that, let's again use this use state. I will name it as nodes and then the set nodes. Okay, so the initial array will be empty. Yeah, so inside add node function, what we will do, we will first check whether this value has something inside it or not, whether it is empty or not. So for that, what we will do, we will use note text dot trim, and we will check whether it is empty or not. If in case it is empty, then we will return out of the function. We cannot add the node, or else it has a value, then we will create a new node which will be a key value pair. It will have an ID. Let's assign the ID as date.now because the date time will be unique, and the text will have value as a node text. Okay, so we had created a new node, and then we need to assign the new node or add the new node inside this nodes array. So for that, what we can do, we can use a variable which will be const new nodes, which will take the input from the existing nodes and then add this new node to it. Okay, what it does, it makes first copy of this existing nodes and then add a new node to it. Yeah, so we had created a new nodes array which will have the existing nodes and the new node one, and we need to pass this value to the set nodes. Okay, so what we can do, we can access this set nodes and pass the new nodes array to it. Okay, and also we need to assign it to the local storage. So for that, it have a local storage option, and there is a function called as set item where we can assign the value as string value. Yeah, key value. So the key will be nodes. You can name it anything, and we need to first convert this value into the string and then assign it to this variable, nodes variable. So for that, what I can do, I can use JSON.stringify because this value is in a JSON format. We need to convert it into the string. So for that, there is a function called as stringify where we can pass this new nodes array. It will convert this new nodes array into the JSON.string value and then assign it to the nodes value, nodes key. Okay, so we had done this thing, and after adding the node, we need to set this node text into the empty value because after writing something inside the input box and adding the text, then the input box should be appeared as empty value because the node had been added. So for that case, we can use set node text to empty value. Yeah. So till now we had added this add node function. Now we need to add a button which says add node. So for that, I will create a button tag, and it will have an value as add node. It will have an on click which says add node. Okay. So inside app.js file, you can create a heading called as nodes app, and then directly use this note list that we had created. So let's try to run this application and check how it looks. For that, there is a command called as npm start. Okay, we had not yet added any CSS, so it's looking decent. So let's check whether the note has been added or not. So this is a new one, note. Then if I click on add note, then it will go empty and the note will be added in the local storage. So let's check. If I try to inspect and go inside application one and check, as you can see, we had added a new note here. This is a new one note which we had recently added, and it had been created inside the local storage. So our application function is working, and now we need to display these nodes here. So for that, what we will do, we will create a simple component. It will be node.js, and it will have an class name as node. Okay, there will be a paragraph tag which will have a value of node.text, and we can pass this node as a parameter. So first we are going to pass it as node, and then there will be a button for deleting the node. Let's give a on click, and we will define this on delete method inside the node list. Okay, we'll pass the ID. So this on delete function will delete that particular node by checking its ID, and we can pass this function to inside as a parameter. Okay, so I think this node component has been completed. So inside node list, what we will do, we will map the values inside the nodes array. So there is a function called as map function, where we will get a single node at each iteration, and then we will return this node component. Okay, so it will have a key because we need to pass key to ignore the errors or warnings, and then we need to pass a node. We'll pass it as directly as node, and there will be on delete function which will be on delete. We need to define this on delete one. So what we will do, we will define this on delete method. So I will name it as on delete. It will accept the ID, and then we need to store the new nodes, and in that case we are going to filter the existing nodes. Okay, so here we had created a new array of nodes where we are using this filter function. In that we will check that if node.id is not equal to id, then only add the node inside this new nodes array, or else discard it. Okay, So if suppose there are nodes of id as 1, 2, 3, and we are passed id as 3, then what it does that it adds only 1 and 2 value inside this new nodes array and discard this third one. Okay. Then after that we need to set the nodes to that new nodes array, and same thing we need to use the local storage dot set item where we will pass the nodes value and then we need to convert it into the string. So for that we will use json.stringify and we need to pass this new nodes array. Okay, we have done that thing and I think it should work. Let's see. If we try to add a node and click on add node, yeah, you can see the node had been added here with a delete one, and if I click on delete then it should be deleted. Yeah, so this both things are working. Now we need to do one more thing. If we are if that local storage have some existing items, then we need to reload those nodes when we try to first open the application. So for that we are going to use this use effect. What this use effect hook does is that before loading the page details, this function will run, and what it will do, it will check whether the local storage have any items or not. If it has, then it will uh, use those nodes and display them. So for that I will use a variable as saved nodes, let's say, and then we need to pass into the JSON format because we had added the nodes in a form of string. Then we need to convert it back into the JSON format. So for that we will use json.pass and then local storage. It have a get item property which will get the values from the nodes variable, and if in case it have no value, then or else this nodes variable is not created, or else we are using this application for the first time, then you can you know that this value is not present inside the local storage, then at that time we can pass the empty value. Okay, and then we need to use set nodes as the saved one. Okay, so let's see, this is the main one. If I try to add one, it will be appeared, and if I try to reload the application, it will fetch the nodes from the local storage and it will display there. So understood what this use effect does? It just fire before reloading a page. So if you are using the application for the first time, then it will check whether this nodes variable is present in the local storage or not. If it is not, then it will be assigned with a empty array, or in case if it have an existing values, then it will pass those JSON values and then it will assign it to the nodes one nodes array which can be displayed inside our application. So we need to add CSS. So I had an existing CSS which I will paste inside the description. We will paste it inside the app.css. Okay, and one more thing we need to do, we need to make it smaller app. Yeah, now it's looking better. Okay, if I try to add the second node, this is the second node. Click on add. The second node has appeared here. And if I try to delete this first one, then first one is deleted and second one is remaining. If I try to inspect and go inside application, here you can see the second note has been there. Let's add this one and check. Yeah, you can see a new entry has been added here. So in this way we had designed the notes application. So subscribe to my channel for getting more interesting coding tutorials, and we'll meet in next video with some interesting project idea. So thank you.